Hello everybody, I'm Niall Sebastian Power Sieger. Welcome to this video. Today I'm in Frankfurt am Main in Germany, and I want to speak a little bit about my lifetime experience in the category of body sharing. So body sharing means if creatures, for example, which have lived as human beings before, which have lost their own human body, do travel into the human bodies of living humans, so the biological body, and to connect in symbiosis to that human body. Or situations where such creatures do conquer a human body in parts. So I want to speak a little bit about my lifetime experience, which is very, very brutal. For those of you which do not know me, I'm one of the living humans who's able to communicate with such creatures. So creatures which have lived as human beings before, which have lost their own human body. And if I speak about my lifetime experience, I always have the problem that a lot of people do not have lifetime experience on a high level regarding their high life, if you want to understand it like that. So I'm in the position that I often speak about stuff knowing that other people which may be going to see the videos are unable to understand this stuff because they do not have the lifetime experience, and because maybe they're not able to realize, so they're not able to do the realization process regarding their consciousness level. So first of all, if I speak about my lifetime experience with such creatures, especially if I speak about moments where they are connected in symbiosis in my human body, with my human body, for example, to give my human body orders through my human brain, or to influence my human body. So if I speak about such situations, all this stuff is very, very private and the reality in my life. So it's often very sad for me to speak about my lifetime experience, because not all of them are beautiful. The most of them, or a lot of them, if not the most of them, of these moments with such creatures are brutal. And that is not because the most of these creatures are brutal, but that is because of some of these creatures, so some of these individuals can behave for a long time very brutal if they are connected in symbiosis with my human body, in my human body. So as I said before, these creatures, if they connect in symbiosis to a biological human body, these creatures are able to give the human body orders, so the human brain. So for example, they can give my human brain an order, and then my body will lift up my arm, or I will start to walk, or will start to think something I don't want to think, or I will start to speak stuff out I don't want to speak out. So they can influence humans on such a high level that I, as a creature who was born in my living human body, as the human who sees myself as a human, me, Niall, I'm unable in such situations to speak out, for example, or to go against the order they do present and they do place in my human brain. So if they give my human brain an order, my body will just do that. And I, as a creature, as long as I have to live as a human in my human body, I'm unable to avoid that if that's happening. And the next thing I want to say is, if you listen to my videos and if I speak about body sharing, the information category of body sharing is very dangerous, because if you reach a higher consciousness level, if you reach a higher level of intelligence in that area, that can get abused by other creatures to attack you them. Because then it could make sense for them to attack you, because you will be them able to understand their attacks as attacks. Which means them, it can make sense for them to attack you and to force you into situations that you should do stuff they want you to do. So crazy situations can come up if you reach a point where you received a higher consciousness level and a higher intelligence level regarding what these creatures are able to do, and the methods they can use to communicate with living humans or to put pressure on living humans. So all these topics are dangerous for all the humans which are interested in these topics, because if you reach, I repeat that, if you reach a high intelligence level, that will lead to a situation that you get high likely more attacked by such creatures, and they can use your own human body to attack you. So they can make your human body ill, can make you feel sick, they can influence your feelings, your thoughts, they can destroy human cells, or they can control your human body. Even if you as a creature are at that moment in time in your human body, you then will be not able to protect yourself from that. And it feels like being raped, because others are at that moment in time, if that's happening in your human body, and they do control your human body. And that is like rape, because rape is so brutal, because others do force humans to do something they don't want to do. But if you are in the situations that such creatures do influence your human body on a high level, you are being raped constantly. Also from the pain level, how you see them and how you feel it. So if I speak about body sharing and about my lifetime experience, people should understand, if they watch the video, that I do not live a normal life like other humans are able to do that. I do not live a peaceful life. I do not live a life without a lot of pain, because I'm living a life with a lot of physical pain in my human body, caused by other creatures which did connect in symbiosis to my human body, and which do influence my human body, which do also cause this pain directly by, for example, destroying my human cells. So this monologue from me for you is getting video filmed with a few cameras, and let me give you a little information. Also, if you do know my website, siaembassy.com, that's a website informing about ghost communication and communication with ancestors and universal communication, also about topics like body share. Then you maybe already know that such creatures can also influence the natural environment which is surrounding me. So they can not only influence my human body, no, they also can influence or control even the natural environment, depending on the method they use. And if you watch the area here where I'm sitting in the background, for those people which do not know that, I'm gonna give you the information. These creatures which have lived as human beings before, which have lost their own human body then, for example, they can canalize the wind. So they can trigger the wind, and they can canalize the wind in the area where I am, and they can use a higher wind level in the area where I am if they want to agree to stuff I speak out, for example. So for the people which do know my videos, these kind of videos where also ghosts did present themselves and did communicate with the audience, with you, the people which are watching the video. In this video, it's highly likely possible that such creatures will also react to what I'm speaking out by using a higher wind level in the area where I am. If you are interested and watch weather control, then you also can watch out for that a little bit. And that's why I got a few cameras over here filming. So I'm gonna try to relax a little bit. I'm gonna smoke a joint. For me, that's, by the way, a painkiller as well, a little bit, but it do not help a lot, because I'm daily suffering from pain. I do smoke a lot of weed, but I'm not taking any kind of other medication so far, so no pills, nothing like that. So in this video session, I want to speak about the fact that I came into a situation in my life where I got tortured from creatures which have lived as human beings before, which have lost their human body. with noises, sounds and music. And to torture me, these creatures did connect in symbiosis to my human brain, so to my human body, and they did influence, they did control the way I have to hear stuff, and when I have to hear stuff, and what kind of stuff I have to hear, and how I have to hear it. They even did influence my feelings, in the feeling area of my biological human body, what I felt when I heard the music. So I want to speak about the fact that I got tortured over days and weeks actually with music, but also with other sounds. And I want to make clear I'm gonna speak about different situations. So the level of the torture was always different depending on the situation. I do remember and I do reflect on my thoughts. Okay, so first of all, my daily life since that is that I cannot listen to sounds very well. I cannot listen to music without having huge problems, without feeling huge psychological pain. And it is psychological pain, and do speak there about it. And if you have been in this situation, I'm sure you cannot even imagine. So these creatures are able to connect in symbiosis to a human brain, and they're able to, for example, control the human brain, how, as I said, you have to listen to stuff, or how you hear it, or which parts you hear, and how loud, how noisy, so they can change the way you hear and see stuff by influencing your biological human body. And when I got tortured by different methods. The most painful method was, of course, where my human body, my own human body, got influenced on a very, very high level for a moment in time. I'm going to speak about that later. But I got also tortured with music for a long while by such creatures, by the method that they did control other human bodies in the area where I lived, and they were going on my nerves with music. So they were listening to music very, very loud in situations where it was painful for me to listen to music. And by doing so, they did create a situation where the whole environment where I was living and my own human body became something for myself, became something like a concentration camp. And I mean the real bad ones. It's very difficult to explain, but each human in the area where I lived at that moment in time became a weapon system which was used against me, because their human bodies were influenced and controlled by these creatures, and they did decide which kind of music these humans them gonna listen to by playing it very, very loud, by playing it constantly. By doing so, they did create for me a very, very horrible situation. There is a background situation was going on at that moment in time, which was also very, very complex, so I'm not going to go into the details of that. But it was very, very painful for me to live, and it is very painful for me to live since then. And it was already before, but since then it became a lot worse. You hear a bird in the background, and I mean this constantly, that sound. That is, for example, also created by such creatures. I'm gonna ask you now to get a reflection from the natural environment, from the opinion of one of these creatures which have lived as a woman before in that case. Can you canalize some wind in the area over here as well, so that the cameras can film that? if you can agree that you did trigger the bird's body, the biological body of the bird, and that you did produce the sound which was going on my nerves in the background the whole time while I'm producing that video here. And for the people which are watching the video, please watch out for this area, because that's the area you can see. There's more wind in the area, and that's why you can see that the leaves of the plant then do start to shake. And you could hear in the background the leaves of the huge tree, which is here on top of the other cameras. So I went through weeks where I had a situation going on where such creatures did influence my human body and did torture me with music. They did torture me in a situation which is so complex that it is a little bit difficult to explain it in total. But let me say it like that. If your human body is getting influenced in a way that you have to see and feel it, it is very brutal torture. If I speak about it, you have to understand, if they use other humans, if they influence their body, or if they control their body to torture me or to attack me, or that they do behave in such a way as I did describe, which do sound in the first moment not bad or horrible, in the first moment. If you do not realize what I did talk about, then it might sound not so bad. So the information is, if they do influence other human bodies in a way that they control them to, that the humans then behave like that. These humans, they don't even have to realize that their human body got influenced or controlled. But when I got tortured with it, they did create a situation where I had to realize it, see it, and feel it. So if people cannot see that their own human body is getting influenced by such creatures which have lived as human beings before, which have lost their own human body, if they cannot feel it, it do not mean that it's not happening. In my case, I always had to feel the situations I'm speaking about. I was in contact with the creatures which did behave like that, so they did also communicate towards me what they're gonna do or what they have done. So it's not a situation where you don't know, or where you don't feel, or where you don't see, like it is the case with the other humans, which human bodies which were in the situation that their human bodies often got abused to attack me and to torture me. They often think by themselves, and for them to listen to music, it's not torture. They think by themselves, often it is their decision, which is totally wrong. It is just that they can't see that others decided for them, and that others did influence their human body so complex in a way that their feelings were triggered, their thoughts were triggered, their thoughts were created. And because they can't see who did create the thoughts, their own thoughts in their head, that is what they think. But of course, these thoughts are not their own thoughts. They are created by other creatures which have abused their biological human body in symbiosis. So I came into a situation for years now where such creatures were using human bodies in the area where I live to communicate with me, or also to attack me, and also to torture me, like I did describe it in parts. And I'm going to speak about it a little bit more. So normally, if you are a human, you can avoid music if you do not feel like that you want to listen to music. But if you get attacked from creatures which do have the capability to use the whole natural environment to influence biological human bodies, or to even overtake them, to control them, you are in the situation that you can not avoid music or sounds. You are in the situation that other humans will follow you, even with sounds, as an attack method from these third creatures. And these humans do not even know that. You're going to be in the situation that you are unable to avoid to leave the house, for example. But in a situation when you get attacked with music, it can be the situation that wherever you go, wherever you walk, sounds calm. People gonna come and gonna produce sound. They're gonna listen to music. The way I had to feel it in these moments were not the same how I was listening to music before in my life. So be absolutely clear there. It is not that you listen in an ordinary way them to this music you hear. The other humans might hear it as normal music, but for you it is being bombed with bits and pieces of information constantly, and you can't avoid it, can't stop it. So the stress level is always going higher the whole time. um, I was today in the situation. I'm here in Frankfurt am Main at the moment, Frankfurt am Main, Germany. I was today in the situation. Staying in a house which is not mine, and I left the room where I'm staying, and I walked downstairs, and the music was loud. And that first of all, that's not my place here. Okay, so there's no space for me to move backwards if the music is loud. Okay, so and well, music was played very loud, which is for me, which is creating a feeling of being tortured. It is creating psychological pain because I was tortured before in my lifetime. So what I want to say with that is I'm in a situation where I cannot listen to music anymore without feeling psychological pain, without being in the situation that I highly likely feel like that I got tortured afterwards. And other humans cannot understand that. I have to live in a society where noises are everywhere. I cannot go into a train without that people listen to music loud. I cannot go into a tram without being in the situation. I cannot walk through a city without being in the situation. When in at that moment in time, first of all, I got tortured by different individual creatures which were connected in symbiosis with my human body. And different individual creatures were using the method to use music to attack me or to torture me. There was one individual in the past who have lived as a man before, and he created the biggest damage because he was influencing my human body. He was controlling the function of my human brain during the torture on such a high level that it feels like an absolute rape. And because it is torture, it is even more than that. It's not only the brain is being raped, you have to feel that, you have to suffer from that being in your human body, and you cannot avoid it. The way you hear sounds them at that moment in time is different. How you see things is getting controlled. You cannot move your human body in a way how you want to move it, because your movement is getting influenced and controlled as well. So your human biological body at that moment in time, for me, my biological human body was raped always 100%. Um, it is impossible to describe the situation in details, but that is because it is so complex. The biological human body is so complex. How you feel, how you see things, them is so complex. But the attacker did know that he would create for me a situation where I never can live a normal life again inside my human body, so with my human body. Which means I got tortured so brutal and in a way that the result is automatically that you as a human cannot live anymore in your human body without feeling psychological pain. No minute, no second is true. The rest is, it do not mean that people can always see that if they look at me, if I walk through my daily life. Um, I'm not an actor, but I have to behave in the social society in a way that others cannot see it, because other humans, as my lifetime experience, cannot understand what I would have to tell them if they ask me how I really feel. And the result is always the same, they're gonna judge me wrong. So there is another embarrassment which gonna follow from the humans when I speak about it, as another act of attack automatically caused by the attack by that creature which have done that torture to me. We do speak about um, a life I'm living as a High King, which of course includes a lot of stuff I can hear, I can see, other humans cannot see or hear because they are not connected with creatures which have lived as human beings before and which have lost their own human body, so the most humans are unable to communicate with such creatures. In general, it is the problem that if you get attacked from such creatures, because they can influence the human body on such a high level, and because they can manipulate the human brain on such a good level, they can attack you and use methods of torture where you normally as a human would die automatically. But because they're able to repair human cells, for example, or human bones, they're able to torture humans even more than a human would normally survive if just human doctors would try to save his life or her life. So the level of torture they can use towards living humans, because they're also able to heal humans on a very high level, is much higher than a human military, for example, could do that to humans, because then the human bodies would die. They would just would die. So if I speak about the memories I have when about the situations where I got tortured, it's important to understand a few things. Very important. If you do not understand a few things, you will not understand the videos when I speak about that stuff. You will not understand how I see the things, and you will not be able to build a bridge for yourself if I give you more puzzle pieces later. So what I want to say, and that's very important, is my human brain even now is getting influenced. So my memories are blocked. I cannot memorize very well. Only bits and pieces of the stuff I went through. But it is not the psychological reflex of putting things aside to forget them. No, that's in my case not the case. The situation is that creatures which are connected in symbiosis to my human body do block these memories, which means the memories I have as thoughts or as feelings created by my biological human body. These memories, they block. What I mean with that is they do create a situation where I cannot control my human brain in a way that I can get my own memories from my lifetime. I always just get bits and pieces. And also, my human brain is influenced always during these moments since a few years in a way that um, other creatures, by controlling my human body, are controlling how much of the pain moments I went through I can see by myself, and how much of that pain I can feel. And that is even necessary after that what I went through, and because otherwise I would die high likely. It would lead to a psychologically death quickly, which means then the human body also would die. As a result of that, I would get really quickly maybe very sick, or I would have a breakdown, or so a collapse would be a result of that if I would have my whole memories. That is important to understand for all the videos, because I'm living since a few years, since I'm connected with such creatures. I'm living a life where I cannot memorize my past years very well. So, but that do not help, because of course you do have, let's say, something like a deeper memory by yourself as a creature. I do have that at least, and that do always lead to very painful situations as well. So I come back to the topic now, because I wanted to speak a little bit about torture, which did lead to a situation that I cannot listen to music anymore, and that did lead to a situation where I have problems to walk through my daily life. And I think what the most people um, will be unable to understand is the level how they can control the natural environment and human bodies surrounding me, even without that these humans do realize that. Because with that, there came another problem after a while, after I was connected with such creatures. Um, I had to learn that even some of these creatures which have lived as human beings before by themselves, so in a human body, today in their existence, they have no respect for human life, and they have no respect for human dignity. They're unable to behave in very brutal ways, and they're able to control even the natural environment. As you can see that if you watch the wind videos, the wind communication videos with me, for example, and other creatures which have lived as human beings before, so ghosts, for example, how some people will call that. You can see in the video that they did trigger the wind a little bit here, also if you watch the camera views. So if I walk through my daily life, I look at other humans always as potential rape victims at the same moment in time when I look at them, when I speak to them. Because I've learned that their human body can get abused quickly, can get controlled by such creatures quickly, without that these humans to realize that during their lifetime. But I know from the community with such creatures which have lived as human beings before, that that if they look back at their own life, which they have lived in a human body, a lot of them did communicate that they feel raped, because now they can see things and understand things in their human life they were unable to understand during their lifetime as living humans in their human body. So with that knowledge, it is absolutely, it is a total embarrassing life to walk through a city, for example. It is a very painful life, and it is a life I'm living because of what I went through, where I can not look at other humans, and I cannot see them only as humans like I was able to do so before I became so connected with creatures which are able to do so much stuff, which are able to control the natural environment and to connect in symbiosis to biological bodies in general. So human bodies, animal bodies, and plant bodies. These creatures have the ruler keys, how humans would call that. The religious humans would say they got the key of the ruler because they can control the natural environment, they can overtake biological bodies. But what I had to witness in the past years is often totally fucked up behavior from such creatures. Totally brutal behavior, totally mean behavior, and totally antisocial. So, with the knowledge I have, and with the knowledge that if other people want to understand better what I have seen, that do lead to a situation where these other people putting themselves in the risky position to become the next victims of such creatures. I'm in a very difficult position as someone who's trying to inform about the peaceful ways humans could have to communicate with their own ancestors, and that's how I started my public appearance, sorry. So I want to go back a little bit to the topic with sounds and music. You can hear in the background maybe the bird again. Okay, as you could see before, a creature did canalize the wind to agree to the fact that she is controlling that bird to go on my nerves. We make it more clear one more time for you. To the creature which did canalize and trigger the wind before, can you canalize the wind again? So can you use a higher wind level if you can agree that you use the bird daily, on a daily basis to go on my nerves? That type of birds. So no matter which city I go through, you place birds in the area where I walk through and use these birds to torture me with their sound and to go on my nerve system, to stress my nerve system. So can you trigger the wind for that a little bit stronger? And for the people which are watching the video, watch it closely. She is triggering the wind, and you can see that the leaves are moving more, especially if you watch the area over here. Please use this area here, because I don't know what the cameras back there are filming. Okay, so this area, these leaves over here, they're always good. The rest is not so good because the cameras are not capturing it. It's that easy. I think the cameras are not filming the big part. So now she's triggering more wind to the area over here, and with that she's agreeing one more time. And that's why you can see that the leaves did start to shake more in the area over here. So you have to watch it closely and on a huge screen, and you have to let your eyes get a little bit used to the communication method this creature is using if she's agreeing to stuff when I'm asking questions. And she's using the method to canalize the wind in the area where I am, and she's placing the wind where the leaves are. So then the leaves do start to shake. Okay, so that's weather control. And that's one of the communication methods ancestors can use because they do not have a human body anymore, but because they're able to connect in symbiosis with the huge symbiosis, we can call it the universe, no, the biosystem. So the natural environment, how we human would see that, but including also biological bodies. So they are capable of a lot of stuff with that. And as you could see, the wind level was triggered. So I'm in the situation that each bee, each bird, each human biological body, each plant body, each electronic device, everything can get used from such creatures to attack me and to stress my nerve system in my daily life. And you can see that the wind is canalized again very strong because the creature is agreeing to that. So in my daily life I get attacked with that and I get tortured with that, but the level is different. So sometimes it's a high level, sometimes it's a low level. That's what you can understand. So if you hear a special kind of bird, and by the way, here in the background you hear different birds. This creature, which just did communicate by using the wind, is very often, not always, but very often using a specific type of birds, so that I can recognize it's her, first of all, and you can see she did trigger the wind again, so she's agreeing to that. So she's using a special type of birds, she as an individual. So these sounds you hear in the background, these sounds are from different birds. Okay, there's a very loud one. That was not the bird type I did talk about. There's a bird which is not so loud, but which did constantly produce sound before. And that's the type of birds we speak about. So I'm in the situation that I get attacked in my daily life from different creatures which have lived as human beings before. Not only one. And they use different methods. They use individual methods and signatures during their attacks, if you want to understand it like that. But the whole natural environment, everything which might be also beautiful to you, is for me something which can always get used to attack me, to torture me, or to stress my nerve system. And that will lead to a very, very brutal life, because I'm going through up to 100 attacks and more on one day, which means up to 100 times a day my human body is getting raped, or my human cells are getting destroyed in a way that I have to feel the physical pain, because my nerve system is attacked by that. And these creatures, sometimes when they do attack, they do connect in symbiosis to my biological human body and to my brain to attack my nerve system. And they also destroy my human cells, and area them, or they destroy them, repair them, destroy them, repair them, to stress my nerve system. That do even lead to a level of torture where I have to piss blood, for example, for days. So if you live a life like that, it is not a life. I can say that easy, how I see that. I would love to be that, how people would see that. The problem is when I did try to kill myself a couple of times, because I get attacked so fucked up and so mean. But when I try to kill myself, these creatures do create situations by influencing my human body, by giving my human body even orders, where then the suicide attempts are not successful. And you can see that the wind is triggered again, this time stronger, because the creatures in the area here, which have lived as human beings before, are agreeing to that. And you can hear they're even triggering the wind now a lot more. Okay. So they do avoid a situation where I die, even if I want to die, because I do not want to suffer on such high levels on my daily life also. How much I get tortured is always different, or often different, so it's not, I cannot say that one day is like the other. But as I said, up to 100 attacks on a daily basis is nothing unusual in my life. And what people have to understand, these creatures, if they connect in symbiosis to human bodies, they can create huge damages. But if people can't see, can't understand the reaction chain, and can go back the reaction chain to where did it start and who did start it, then they often will analyze wrong and will see the results as an illness. For example, somebody had cancer because the cell did change. But this cancer can be only the result of an attack from a specific individual, which was able to connect to the biological human body and to change the code of the human cell, so that then cancer became the cell. The cell became cancer. So, and you can see the wind was triggered again, because the creatures do agree to that, the creatures which are using the wind, the natural environment, to communicate with you, the people which are watching the video. So this natural environment, what we talk about, is everything you see, even the sky back there and the ground down here. Everything can get used in my daily life to attack me. And everything you can see, as far as you can see, and much further, can get controlled by an individual creature which is attacking me. So that is important to understand. You have one individual creature, for example, which is attacking me, and that individual creature can control at the same time, in the same moment, the natural environment and dozens and millions of biological bodies. Because what you saw here is the wind is getting canalized to the plant. If I ask questions or if the creature wants to agree. So, but what you have to realize as a human, if you watch my videos, in the air, we have millions of individual creatures with a small body we as humans can't see, because our eyes often can't even see cell structures. But a cell is already a body. So if the wind is getting canalized, it's a fact that already millions and millions of individuals which are surrounding me are getting overtaken or getting influenced where they can't avoid it, so that one creature can present him or herself towards you by using the wind and by canalizing it. Okay? That's important to understand. So these creatures, they have the ruler key. How humans can see that is true regarding how we humans would see the planet Earth. So they have the ruler key for this biosystem, how we see it as living humans. If you might ask yourself now, can a human survive attacks if they attack on a high level? Of course not, is the answer. For them to kill a human is a question of a millisecond. They can kill a human in a millisecond. They can create heart attacks, strokes, cancer. They can create so much stuff in human bodies that a lot of the death we do witness on planet Earth are not only natural death or illness. No, some of them are caused by such creatures, and some people got killed like that from creatures which did connect in symbiosis to their human body, and then these people became ill, how humans would see that. And after these humans then died, then they maybe did realize, oh no, I got attacked from an individual creature which did, for example, cause cancer or did cause other type of illnesses inside my human body. That's how people can understand that if they ask themselves the question, if there are wars going on planet Earth where such creatures are involved, which have lived as human beings before and which do not have a human body anymore. The car accident you might see tomorrow in the news could be part of that war. The stroke patient you might see reaching the hospital can be a victim of a concrete attack from an individual you couldn't see. And then you just judged wrong if you thought that this human just became ordinary sick and had a stroke. In my life, when we talk about strokes, in my life, because my human brain is also getting influenced by such creatures, being connected in symbiosis to my human body to communicate with me, which means they can create pressure in my human head, which I then can feel. For example, in the area over here to say yes, or in the area in the back of my head to say no, which means they can cause pressure points, and then I feel the pressure to communicate with me. But if they do so, sometimes it do happen that my human cells do get destroyed, and that of course do lead to internal bleedings. So a stroke, because it is the human head, it is the human brain they are working with. But that is not a normal situation, because if these creatures do influence my human body, they also do repair it. But that do not mean that I do not suffer as a human. That can mean that the repairing process, depending on what it is, it can mean that depending on what it is, that the repairing process can be painful as an attack. People always hear that somebody is going through a healing process and heaven is involved. That do not mean always something good. It's my lifetime experience. Because, for example, I got tortured until the point where I had to die. But my human body, shortly before that point, they started to repair it. Then I reached the point and I did not die. And then the repairing process went on. Okay? And then they did restart to torture me. So I survived in my life with the support from such creatures which did something like healing my human body. I did survive torture moments with that. But in moments where they did let survive me that to torture me further. That is what people should understand. And them, of course, not all the healing processes are very nice processes. Some of them are very mean. Even if I talk about healing processes, it is always important to understand the situation, and it's important to ask the question why somebody had to be healed from what, and what did cause it, who did cause it. Okay. And there in my life I had different healing processes. Healing processes which were necessary because of my own lifestyle, because I was not very nice to my own human body during my lifetime, and also healing processes which were necessary because of such attacks. Okay? And of course, I look very different at these healing processes if they are just there to repair my human body, to organize the situation that I as a human have to survive. So me, the creator in my human body, being connected to my human body, to torture me then further. I look at these situations as totally fucked up, mean and horrible, and it can lead to situations which are inhumane. My life is inhumane. I'm not allowed to live a life which would be human. I'm living my life as a human with my human body. But the life I have to live is inhumane. Would not wish other people to be in the situation that they have to live such a life. And I always would say that it would be better for people to die instead of being in the situation that you have to live a life like that, or that you have to live a life after such situations. Let me say it like that. And I want to make that point because there's some respect for myself left from me. Yeah? So if you if you went through special situations which have been especially hardcore, especially embarrassing, especially painful, especially inhumane, I always had the position as a man that I would better be dead than survive such stuff. It's the truth, because it is not a human life anymore if you survive it. It's not your human life anymore if you have survived it. Others were necessary to create that. And that is not acceptable for me. Might be not easy to understand for everybody, but that's how I have lived. Before, I was connected with such creatures which have done that to me. In the area where I was living before, also people got attacked, other people. They even got attacked in a way that I had to feel it, see it. So same with me, they got even attacked, some of them. Okay, there were a lot of people, some got attacked in a way that they could not analyze it, that they could not realize that they got attacked from a third creature, and they thought they just behaved because of their own decisions like that, or because of an illness from themselves. Okay, so these people were wrong because they do fail because they are unable to come to the right conclusions because they can't see far enough. But also people got attacked which were able to communicate with such creatures like I am, and got brutally tortured in between. Brutally tortured in between from such creatures. Um, the life, I'm talking about a woman there, is also destroyed. That's what I'm thinking. What I've seen is that the life of the woman was destroyed because of the wounds, because of the pain level. She do not behave anymore very nice towards other human, and she do now behave very antisocial. But when I got to know her, she made clear that she became a victim of that shit I went through later also. So, and during the time period where I stayed in the area, she got attacked as well from such creatures which even did communicate with me that they're gonna attack her, or that they did attack her. People which are in the area where I am got were which were in the area where I was, sorry, got attacked. They got abused. How would you feel if you would be me? I'm not a bad person, I'm not a bad guy. Um, but I'm not totally stupid as well. How would you feel if you walk through your city, go through your supermarket, and if you would have to learn and would have to see that third creatures which have lived as human beings before, which have lost their own human body, are able just to use the body of living humans to speak to you directly? Because that's what I had to witness often in my life. And if they use these human bodies, these humans, these creatures which were born as these humans, they often do not realize it, or when they realize it, it is just like rape to them. It's like being tortured, being raped to them. How would you feel if you would be me? If you go out your door and you know because you do because you do what normal people do, because you go out, and because other third creatures want to reach you, want to communicate with you, or even want to attack you. Because of that, they're gonna use the human bodies which are surrounding you to communicate with you. How would you look at humans after a while is the question I have for you. Because I'm living that life. I now know how I've seen humans before when I walked through my normal life. And then came the situation where I was connected with such creatures in a way that I could see much further. And I know how much pain it is to look now at humans today. In general, I only see humans, not only, but often I see them as rape victims, because they become victims of attacks and rape quickly in the area where I am. For those of you which do not know me, I'm a man who's producing data where ghosts and creatures like uh, like creatures which have lived as human beings before to present themselves. So I produce data like that since years, and that did lead to an ordinary situation in my lifetime. These creatures want to communicate with living humans, and you might wonder how I put that just to the internet, because you see weather control and you maybe go deep into the topic and you realize my life is real and what these creatures can do is real and all the data is real, and all the data much more than 100 documentations. More than that. No, it is documented live over a few years, where such ghosts and creatures did use the natural environment to communicate or did control in parts planet Earth to present themselves and to communicate. Biological bodies and the weather. So I belong to these humans which wanted to inform about the fact that it is possible with to communicate with ancestors in general. And then I started to inform, and then I made more lifetime experience. But when I presented myself to the public, I already didn't know that everything goes. But everything goes means also all the others will not go, not the way they wanted it, because it's the ruler's key. So I presented myself to the public, and the secret agencies around planet Earth were informed that I do exist, and that these creatures do use the natural environment even to protect my human body if necessary, which do not mean that they always do that. No, I'm able to solve my own conflicts depending on the situation, but if government structures, for example, would try to attack, it would be possible that they even lose people, because these third creatures would not accept that. So um, the governments on planet Earth, regarding the secret agencies, they got informed that I do exist and that I will publish data in the future, which I did. They also got informed about these details. So, but I realized in the past years in my life that my problem is a completely different one. It is the most people are unable to understand. And if these attacks do happen, it is logical, because they get influenced in a way that they are unable to understand depending on the situation, even if I document it. If you watch the documentation, the question is, will you be able to realize what I speak about? Will you be able to check the data I did speak about, the more than 100 videos, to understand really? And the answer is maybe, but others can also decide that you don't even get the chance to decide by yourself, because they can influence your biological human body on such a high level. And with that, of course, it is very difficult to speak with other humans about attacks. These kind of attacks where that is happening. So where the attacker them is influencing other human bodies in a way that they are unable to understand what I'm speaking about, even if they could get a demonstration. So I did speak a lot now in this short video. I don't even know if the two cameras, I'm filming with two other cameras, if they did film everything, but I want to come back to the topic. You hear the bird in the background again? Yeah. I want to go back to the topic that my nerve system is in my daily life getting attacked with sounds. You could hear more sound than when I spoke it out. Okay. With sounds and also music, because other people are listening to music, and because their human body is getting influenced to bump me with that shit. But I don't mean in that case, I mean the humans which are surrounding me. I don't mean any other humans. I want to be there specific to avoid misunderstandings out there. Um, so right now I'm talking about situations where I go through my daily life and people which are surrounding me directly. so face to face, which are in a face to face distance or at least reachable directly with my human body. Um, you can see here that the wind is triggered because it's important to be specific if you really want to understand, and because it's a lot of sound you hear here in this video as well. I have to speak a lot to explain you a lot of stuff if you're interested in that. So if I go out today, if I look at my daily life, I often come into a situation where I get bombed with music or with impressions created by other humans which are surrounding me, in situations where the human body is maybe getting influenced. So, and that leads to constantly stress for me. And there are a lot of categories in my life where stress is caused. That is just 1.1 category. It will lead to a lot of psychological pain because of the torture from the past. And in the past there were moments, so a few minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, day, moments which were different long, where I got tortured on different levels. And on top of that, I get tortured and attacked in my daily life with sounds, nearly my daily life. Because that did happen in the past on a very high level, and because of my daily life, that is the situation. Because of that, I can hardly walk through my life. If I hear sounds, I just want to leave the place. Because I feel so much pain. I just want to leave the place, and that's it. I want to leave the people there where they are, and I just want to go. I want to be alone. But you could hear in this video, because the one type of bird we used to demonstrate that as well with the sound, there's no place to go to. There's no place where it would be quiet for me in my life when these creatures do attack me like that. Even if you will put me to a bunker where there's no natural environment, they could create sounds in my human brain. For example, they could create a situation where I them have to hear music, even if the music is not existing in the humans. So with that, there's no place for hiding, and hiding is not what I like to do in life anyway. It's not the method, it's not my lifestyle. Let me say it like that. Normally it's not my lifestyle, definitely not. But the situation is also not normal in my life since a few years. That's also a fact. So hiding is no opportunity, even if I wanted that, and I don't even want that. The rest is that I, as a human, I'm suffering in my daily life on such a high level that life do not make any further sense. It is just brutal. It is painful and brutal to get up in the morning. My daily life is brutal and painful. When I go to bed, it is brutal and painful that I know that I may be going to wake up tomorrow, because I don't want to live anymore with all that pain. The natural environment and everything I can see as a human, including all other humans which are surrounding me if I go through a city or whatever, became just a weapon system which can get used to attack me or to attack people which I like. The next thing is that I'm living in a society where the most people, they don't even realize that it is possible to communicate on a good level with ancestors. I live in Germany, so with the stuff which is happening in my daily life, I can speak hardly about it with ordinary people on the street, because they would judge me wrong. And with that, you feel totally excluded in a way from the normal society. And you also have the pressure that you have to exclude yourself a bit from the normal society. Because I'm getting tortured is correct. I'm getting attacked is correct. Often. And often means the following. Even in this video, I got tortured. With the sound, I got stressed. My nerve system got attacked is correct. But in my human body, physical pain is caused specifically from individual creatures also is something you can't see. So I'm searching for a team of doctors at the moment to provide the public later there with data. I'm waiting for their replies because the videos I did upload some videos in the past where requested doctors to contact me to produce such data so that I can make it more understandable for people out there. But no doctors to realize. And that's very sad. So now I'm writing them emails and hopefully I will find one competent human who is a medical doctor. I'm not sure because the what he would have to learn new knowledge is a lot. And the most doctors, they're living on a medical knowledge level which is very small compared to what these creatures can do with biological bodies if they are connected in symbiosis to it. So the living humans which are doctors, their consciousness level is very limited compared to the reality. And what they see as illness types, for example, is often or can be often something different as well. So there's a lot of stuff which makes it difficult to find a doctor who's really open for new knowledge and for new perspectives. And the reason is Germany is very good in indoctrinating people um, regarding the school system. But that will lead to a situation where people always think that they're very intelligent because they have a doctor title, and then they do not listen anymore. And that is my lifetime experience from the past in this country often, if I think about medical doctors in Germany. And that will lead, of course, to a situation where the system is blocking itself, the medical system. So let's go back to the topic. So I just wanted to make clear that even in this video I got tortured. I'm not crying, I'm not, you do not see my tears, but the pain level, the physical pain level I'm feeling at that moment, for example, is that high that I'm sitting like this instead of laying back, because I can't at the moment. There is a video on www.crembassy.com, a video in the Ancestors video database in German, where my body is connected to a screen with medical equipment, medical screen, and then you can see, for example, what happens when third creatures do overtake the control of my heartbeat. Because I filmed that and I did put that into the German database of the Ancestors video database. You have to read the descriptions, and one of the videos will be one with medical equipment, the others will be wind videos, high likely, and it's potentially possible that there will be more videos in the future, because I will try to communicate with these doctors I'm searching at the moment. So I'm trying to find a doctor who's also willing to be part of videos so that people can understand that better, because then I would be able to film when I get the medical checks later. Regarding me in my life, because my body is getting repaired from these creatures as well as destroyed depending on the situation and what they do. At this moment in time, for example, when I spoke about the pain, I have pain in the area over there because cells got destroyed during I filmed myself here. I have pain in the back, which did lead to a situation that I then were sitting, so where my sitting style became so stupid for a moment. And that pain can get caused quickly and it can be gone quickly. It's important to understand. So it's in my life, in my daily life, it is possible that I speak out 5 sentences, and in 3 of them I feel a lot of pain, and the other two I'm already painless. So they can cause pain quickly, and they can reduce the pain level quickly as well. Sometimes or as I said, when I said I got more than 100 attacks a day, depending on the day, people should understand these attacks can be a minute long. That a lot of pain is caused in my human body, or these attacks they can last for hours, and it can come to situations where, for example, one individual creature is attacking me here, and another individual creature is attacking me in my back. So it is possible that many different attacks are happening parallel, and that I'm communicating also with all the attackers. And it is possible that the situation is even that I can identify all the attackers, and that other creatures also identify them and communicate that towards me. So we talk about quickly very complex situations in my lifetime. And because they are so complex, they are so very hard to explain to other living humans which can't see far enough and which do not have the lifetime experience. When I started to produce public data to inform about ancestors communication, I was not sure, first of all, how long I will survive being connected with such creatures, because the because you do not always survive what you witness. It's somehow correct how other humans would see that if I would put all the details on the table. And also correct is that I did survive, but it's not a life. If you would be in my position, you would judge by yourself that that kind of life I'm living. Other people call that a life. They can't see all my pain I'm suffering, I'm feeling, and all that. But it is not a life. A normal life is not possible anymore. It's like being constantly downgraded with the potential stuff you would be able to do by yourself. You're constantly downgraded um, by the possibility you have to use your own human brain or your human body. You're constantly downgraded by, well, how you see things. You are downgraded there. You are limited. You become much more limited because of all the pain, because of all the interaction, because of so many attacks and all that. I became limited in the past, up to a point that I couldn't stand up. I couldn't leave my bed for days because of back pain, because of torture, because of attacks. So my life became totally limited compared to the life how I could live it before. Totally limited. Um, my life became totally limited because I'm unable to speak with other humans about what I'm going through. It's also truth. Because the most living humans do not understand these things if they do not have the lifetime experience. And they judge people when they speak about that stuff as just crazy or stupid or whatever. I want to tell you something funny. Yesterday I've seen a documentation. A horrible documentation from a guy who had always voices in his head. And He was staying in front of a court because he have killed people and children. Because those voices told him that, as far as I understood the documentation. No, sorry. Let me correct that a little bit. So there was a guy. He had always voices in his head, and he was in front of a court because he have shot a man to raise awareness for that topic. The problem is, well, first of all, regarding that case, I don't know the details. Okay, but if you live a life like me, you know that these cases are real. Some of them, maybe not all of them, but some of them. You know that humans can come into a situation that they, from one moment to the other, hear constantly voices telling them stuff. And that can be other creatures which have lived as human beings before, and that can be also living humans. Okay? Because sometimes living humans are able to connect in symbiosis with other human bodies as well, and they can be also able to influence human bodies to a certain level, but of course not as much as creatures which do not have their own biological human body anymore. And these cases are very rare, because just a very few humans are really able to do that, is what I think. You could hear in the background that the wind level was triggered, and you could see here that the wind was triggered, so the leaves do shake more now, and that is because the creatures which are here, which have lived as human beings before, they agree to the stuff I'm speaking about regarding these cases and the voices they hear in that. So in my life, I was in contact with creatures which did communicate to me that they created voices in the head of other humans. And I had to witness a victim of such behavior, a human woman. If people come into that situation, it's very easy. Their psychological base will not be strong enough to stand their ground for a long time if they get attacked from such creatures, and if the creatures which are able to connect in symbiosis to that human body start to indoctrinate or to manipulate a human by using the methods of creating the voices in the head. And if a human comes into that situation, I think it's just a question of time, because the human is not strong enough. So it just will be a question of time if these creatures attack strong, how long a human needs before the human goes mad and crazy in total and became a victim of that attack. It will exclude that human quickly from the normal society, because the normal society will exclude themselves from that human. So that human is becoming a victim of these attackers and the humans which are judging these humans as sick or whatever, which is wrong. Because if I say a human is sick, I have to be aware that I speak about a creature who was born that human body, who sees himself or herself as the human, and the biological human body in connection. So if the biological human body is getting influence from third creatures which create the voices, and the human body is able to hear that, it do not mean that the human body is sick. It do mean the human body is healthy enough to witness the biosymbiosis and the function of the biosymbiosis. But the creature in the human body who was born that human body, who sees himself or herself as human, because we are socialized in societies and so on, will psychologically not be able to deal with that for a long while, and the other humans surrounding him will exclude themselves from him or her. So these humans become a double victim of the living human society, which is too stupid to understand what biosymbiosis means, and which are too blind to have the correct understanding for these kind of people, and which do attack them by judging them wrong the whole time. And the human, so the creator was born that human body, who is the human in the self picture, if you want it like that, become a victim of the voices and the voices will control his life or her life after a while, because they're constantly influencing that creature in the human body and the behavior. And that can lead to situations where those humans then attack other humans, because these voices tell that these humans the whole time. The voices created in the head of these humans. So I watched a documentation where that kind of um, symbiotic influencing of human bodies was the topic, body sharing. That's how I call it. Okay. And I was watching a docu about that guy who shot another guy to raise awareness for that topic, because he communicated that he couldn't see that other people do understand him, and that he was mad, if I understand him correct or understood him correct, because they did judge him wrong and do judge other people wrong, which do have the voices in the head, because they judge these people as sick instead of checking the background data and the reports of these people which are victims of that situation. First of all, when I say victims of that situation, let me explain you my lifetime experience. None of you people would be strong enough if this guy, how you can see it, heaven or whatever, or we call it even hell, would attack you. So if creatures which can influence the wind and which are able to connect with the biosymbiosis system, control the weather and all that, if you think you would be strong enough to protect yourself, you are totally mad and crazy. You wouldn't be able to do that. You wouldn't be able to protect yourself from voices in your head. You wouldn't be able to protect yourself from cancer. You are unable to do so. So these people are unable to protect themselves from a biosystem they have to live in, where they are part of it. And because others can use with the ruler key the function of the biosystem, they can create in that part of the biosystem voices in the human brain of their body, which is just part of the huge biosystem, like my body and your body. But none of us as humans can deal psychologically with it if it's happening. Because as an individual human with this picture of yourself you have to die. You cannot survive the truth in the knowledge. That's the problem there. Even if you highly intelligent, even if you are not stupid, even if you are good in analyzing everything, even if you built yourself a good freezer for a lot of stuff. Let me use that picture. So I don't want to do that video too long. I did speak a little bit about this torture part. You could hear the bird because I produced now a longer video than my original wanted that. You could see the reaction in the background a little bit with the wind, and you can see the wind. If the wind is triggered and the leaves are canalized and they produce a sound, you can see and hear that as voices. There you get your little alarm. By the way, there's a great song from the Black Eyed Peas, Ring the Alarm, where the topic is controlling the data of the environment as well. You check it out. But that's just a tip for a song. As I explained, I cannot listen to music very well at the moment after I got tortured with music. And I just wanted to make clear with the video that my life is very brutal and very sad because of what I had to witness, and how I look at other humans today is a very sad thing for myself, because I cannot look at humans anymore as individuals like I could see them before. I always see that part, if I look at a human, also that their human body just can get controlled, abused, influenced by others. The thoughts they have in the head can be created by other third creatures quickly, easily. What they will speak out can get created by other third creatures, which use them, their human body, to speak to me. Um, Practicing universal communication in my daily life, and I really do not like the part when other human bodies are getting used from such creatures which have lived as human beings before to speak to me directly. And the reason for that is that family members of me, which are such creatures which have lived as human beings before, which have lost their human body, they communicated clearly that they see, if they look back at their own life, they see their own human bodies raped. If that did happen, they couldn't see far enough as living humans, but today they're able to see far enough. I'm able to see far enough because I got raped. I can't even count how often in my life. By different methods, I got sexual raped, so sexual assaulted, and non-sexual raped. Non-sexual is if your human body is getting controlled from another creature against your will. That's like 100% rape of your human body. Or if your human brain is getting influenced against your will and thoughts are created, that is rape. So I look at humans always as rape victims. If I walk through my daily life, even if these humans do not understand that, because if their human body is getting influenced, they can't even realize it. But later they will realize it, and then they will see that a lot of decisions in their life maybe weren't produced by themselves. They were produced by the situations, by the feelings they had in their biological human body, which was maybe triggered. Feelings which did lead to thoughts, or thoughts which were triggered and created in their human head, where they then thought, because of these thoughts, I will make my decision to go that way or that way. Over their life just got ruled. This is how people like me look at that. And these people can't even protect themselves because they can't even see it. If you can see it, you also can not really good protect yourself. But at least you saw it. If you see too much, you will die as a human. It's the result of my lifetime experience already, even if I survived. So when I started to inform about universal communication, about topics like body sharing, I thought I could help a lot of people which are maybe influenced by themselves, which are trying to communicate that to the public, which do not listen, which is unable to understand their situation. But I thought I could maybe also help other humans to understand that there would be that there are ways existing how they easily could communicate with their own ancestors. With all the bad experience, really fucked up years in my life, if I look back, fucked up years, totally brutal, totally painful, and not a life anybody should deserve. I'm looking at the fact that I did present myself to the public, did inform about universal communication. If I think about the future, I don't know for myself which way to go. If I stay alive, I of course I can inform a little bit about the topic. But I had to realize in the past that a lot of these creatures which have lived as human beings before and which have lost their own human body, they're often attacking even senseless humans, raping them, creating rape situations. For example, I want to explain a rape situation for you. You understand that, but like I said, they can trigger thoughts, and most humans can't see that. So if that's happening, these human thinks they think they do decide by themselves. I can walk through my life, and there are creatures which have lived as women before, which have lost their own human body, and they want to flirt with me. Okay, if I walk through my life, it can happen that they use other female bodies to do that directly. If I would interact with that woman, so if I would start to react to that, I would become a rapist, because these women, the creatures which were born in the body of the woman, which see themselves as the woman, they don't realize at that moment in time that a third creature is influencing their human body. another creature which have lived as a woman before. And these individual creatures which have lived as women before and which have already lost their human body, they don't give a fuck about these ones. That's the truth. They would control their human body even up to a level that they would bring them directly to my bedroom. But I don't want that. It will make me a rapist. But I cannot avoid even situations where women are in the area where I am. I cannot avoid situations where their human body is getting influence from such creatures and is getting abused to them flirt with me, even if I don't want that. And even if they would maybe not do that, if they could decide by themselves, which I can not know or, or see, because they're unable to do so. I'm not a mean guy, but the fact that I'm in contact with such creatures do mean that it would be easy to abuse situations where they abuse humans to create situations where I could benefit from. But I'm not an asshole. I'm not a rapist, and so far it did lead to a very hard life compared to the life other people can live. Um, what I had to witness in the past years is a disaster and inhumane. A lot of these creatures which have lived as human beings before, which had their own human body once, if they're in contact with me today, or if they, not all of them, but too many of them behaved inhumane. Too many of them. That is not over 50%. No, I was in contact with many creatures, but the percentage is not zero. It's not 10%. And that will lead to a situation where I walk through my daily life and I don't know really how to behave. Um, I did try my best in the past to communicate with the government, for example, here in Germany, but they do not react. The data is real, the stuff is real, it's documented, all that, but they do hide. It do not look to me like the government in Germany would have one intelligent guy or woman working there which would be able to understand my living situation and the situation others are in, because I'm real and I'm able to communicate with such creatures and because of their behavior. And I did try to find a communication partner since 4 years or whatever. It's absolutely disaster, because even if the most humans cannot see far enough, it's absolutely stupid from a social society like in Germany, it's a big country, and other countries as well, that they do not even try to protect their own children and own women by communicating strong and complex with those people which are able to communicate with such creatures. Absolutely weak and fucked up position, how I see it in my life, that I was unable to find communication partners from the government which really did react intelligent. So I'm living a life right now. I have to find a new place to stay, to live, um, because I'm moving away from the place where I lived before. Also because of too many problems which were caused by third creatures which did connect in symbiosis to human bodies, because of situations which come up because of the behavior of third creatures which were able to influence, for example, a woman's body very badly, which attack it. So all these situations do lead to the situation that I'm leaving the place where I stayed before. At the moment, I'm searching for a place to live. And because my life is so complex and stupid, the best would be to have a place where I could live, where not too many other people do live. For example, in a forest or something. Well, you can't imagine. I'm living in Germany. I have to live on social benefits because nobody was listening to what I did try to inform about in the past. So I had to live an absolute embarrassing life compared to the life I had before. Um, Also financially, to move my stuff is a burden, and that is a situation where my own human body is getting tortured daily, and there's nothing which is working from the government side, from the social network, whatever, nothing which would work in my life or which have worked in the past years, which would support me a little bit. Intelligent, concrete, there where it's needed. Absolutely embarrassing situation. So I will have to find a place where not too many other people are living, um, to avoid that I have to live a life where other humans which are in the area where I live are getting abused on a daily because third creatures are trying to reach me by using their human bodies, by influencing their human bodies, by speaking over their human bodies to me. I have no support so far from the government and not enough money to afford a place. I have a question to all of you which are watching the video. If you realized what I did speak about, if the social society would be a little bit intelligent, would it not be intelligent to give people like me directly a place where we could live without that other people getting harmed if not necessary? And why I'm not in the position to have a place to live is what I'm asking myself today. And that's like years after I present myself to the public, after I make clear that my human body is getting influenced on a very high level, which will lead to a situation that I'm unable to earn money for a moment. So um, so right now I'm in Frankfurt, as I explained. That's an email here from the social structure, and they're explaining me that because I left Bonn, because I had to leave Bonn because other people got attacked. Okay, and they are not listening. Because I left that place, they will cut my social benefits to zero. So I don't have any support or so on. I just have bullshit going on with the social system instead of any kind of intelligent support. If you get social benefits money, for example, I was living on social benefits. I'm an educated guy, by the way. So I was living on social benefits because I'm connected with such creators for a few years now. That's also embarrassing. No, serious, that's totally embarrassing because other creatures do create a lot of shit in your life, do torture you and a lot of stuff. And you get punished for that instead. Then I was in the situation that I was trying to help humans to understand that they would be able to communicate with their own ancestors. And I'm living a life where I constantly get punished, but stupid. So I'm searching for a flat at the moment. No, I'm searching for a little tiny place, somewhere in a forest, where I can exclude myself as best as possible. And That's the result of all the negative and bad experience I made because I'm connected with creatures which have lived as human beings before. That's a result of what I had to witness and what I had to go through. I did start to communicate in the public about the topic because I wanted to help humans which are unable to communicate with their own ancestors. Because I wanted to help such creatures to reach living humans. Um, but the truth is that um, all the different attacks I had to witness are too many, too brutal, too inhumane. The behavior of some of these creatures in the area where I live, no matter where I walk, is in between, not always, but in between also that they rape other humans, that they attack other humans, that they're creating pain in their human body, or that they're creating other stuff which is very negative for these humans and their human life. I cannot avoid these situations because these are not my decisions. But it will lead, as a responsible man, to a situation that since years I'm trying to explain that I would need support from other living humans to create once a situation in my life which is acceptable for me and better for others. And I could not find people which did understand that. How stupid is that? And all of that was in a situation where my human body got influenced so bad in between in the past years that I wasn't even able to speak in a video like I'm speaking in this video. So that I wasn't even able to produce good video material where I just could speak out 20 sentences. And one of the reasons is, of course, because my human brain is getting influenced, and when I get attacked, I sometimes forget too quick what I want to speak out. Sounds stupid, but that's the living situation I'm in since a few years. Sometimes I want to say one sentence, and before I can finish that, I already forgot what I want to say. So I'm starting 2-3 words of 7-8, and then everything is lost. That's the level how my memory system is blocked in between. How much I came into a situation that I couldn't even remember my youth, my own lifetime. Not a few days, a few years. So a disaster. I started this video because I wanted to speak about the fact that I got tortured with music and sounds. So that will also lead to a situation that I'm now searching a flat where I can exclude myself from music as best as possible. Also from other humans which are listening to music, because their human body often get abused when they're in the area where I am, and then I get attacked with their behavior, how they listen to music, how loud, how close they come to me, and all that shit, which kind of music they choose. So thank you for watching. I get disturbed. I'm gonna finish the video now because I got disturbed. Thank you for watching, and